Hi guys, this is the Muska. Welcome to my channel. So last week I talked about interviewing my uncle concerning his going back to worshiping the deities, and it got me reading up a lot about the Igbo culture before we got colonized. And I stumbled on some prospects on how we used to calculate time. Igbo people calculate time was quite similar to the way philosophers and some historians actually felt that time was supposed to be calculated, especially the spiritually inclined. So the Igbo people believe that the living lives through time, while the spiritual determined the times. They calculated their time with moons. They did not have 5 o'clock, 10 o'clock. They had sunset, sunrise, cock crow, when the cock comes to roost. They used to have yam festivals, the full moon, and all of that. Also, they calculated time as cyclic, with smaller circles and wider circles, unlike the way that the Europeans calculate time, like in a straight line, like linearly. So I stumbled on this article written by, what's his name, Anayo Benjamin Osai. It was about Igbo cosmology, the way they calculated time and how it was related to their culture and spirituality. And lots of interesting things popped up. Coincidentally, because I am Stoic, I read some Stoic materials, and right now I'm reading Seneca's letters to Lucilius. And in the letter to Lucilius, he actually referred to time in a cyclic manner. He explained how cyclic time was, as opposed to the linear way we calculate it, and that got me interested. So I'm going to actually put up some of these things so that you guys get to see for yourself and decide for yourself if you buy it or not. So, and another one that actually got me hitched was, I used to watch Da Vinci Demons because I'm kind of a fan of Da Vinci. And the beginning of Da Vinci Demons, do you guys remember how it started? Well, I did.
History is a lie that has been honed like a weapon by people who have suppressed the truth. The knowledge you are destined to learn will upend the established order of things.
How could you possibly know that?
You have heard the phrase, time is a river.
Yes.
What most fail to grasp is that the river is circular. One man's death opens a doorway to the birth of the next.
So looking at this and then comparing it to Seneca's notes. In Seneca's letters to Lucilius, he talks about time. In this letter on old age, he says, "Our span of life is divided into parts. It consists of large circles enclosing smaller ones. One circle embraces and bounds the rest. It reaches from birth to the last day of existence. The next circle limits the period of our young manhood. The third confines all of childhood in its circumference. Again, there is, in a class by itself, the year. It contains within itself all the divisions of time, by the multiplication of which we get the total of life. The month is bounded by a narrower ring. The smallest circle of all is the day, but even a day has its beginning and its end, its sunrise and its sunset." Now, we're going to look at how the Igbos actually view time. In an article written by Anayo Benjamin Osai, titled "Time in Igbo Cosmology, the Ritual and its Value," he says, "Our argument in this paper, therefore, is to show that time controls the entire socioeconomic and religious life of the Igbo people, which is an effort in the direction to express that Igbo, or Africa at large, have idea of time, but unlike the Europeans, whose time is linear, Igbo perception of time is cyclical." Kalu, 2002, remarked this view thus: "Using the criterion of time, the Igbo perceive the universe and events occurring there as moving in a cyclical fashion." Also, Ekunife, 2003, corroborated Kalu and said, "Time for the Africans is reckoned in a cyclic fashion as against the linear dimension of the European time. This cyclic reckoning is punctuated by events and activities which are charged with religious, political, and cultural overtone. Thus, instead of the usual Western chronometric time, the traditional Africa think in terms of cosmogonic time, mystical time, historical time, agricultural time, seasonal time, solar time, lunar time, and so on. And this is just amazing. I mean, it reminds me of this letter I actually stumbled on that was written by Macaulay or so. I have traveled across the length and breadth of Africa, and I have not seen one person who is a beggar, who is a thief. Such wealth I have seen in this country, such high moral values, people of such caliber, that I do not think we would ever conquer this country unless we break the backbone, the very backbone of this nation, which is her spiritual and cultural heritage. And therefore, I propose that we replace her old and ancient education system, her culture. For if the Africans think that all that is foreign and English is good and greater than their own, they will lose their self-esteem, their native culture, and they will become what we want them: a truly dominated nation, as we are today. It's just fascinating. It's just really fascinating that we had a whole system, and then somebody came and said our system was wrong, and then we just followed through. We just did exactly what they expected us to do. And it's crazy that this is not the only things that they changed. They changed a whole lot of things. They changed our concept of unity. So the Igbo people used to live as, they believe themselves as an entity not brought out of community. Basically, like, they believe that community, they are a part of community and community is them. Okay, so let's see this quote. In traditional Igbo, the individual does not and cannot exist or operate alone without the cooperation of others. They live together and share life intensely in common. For the Igbo, their existences are owned to other people, like the nuclear family, extended family, community, village, and even the entire town. Whatever affects individual affects all, and what affects all affects individual. Mbiti 1990 summed up this and said, "I am because we are, and since we are, therefore I am." This is a cardinal point in the understanding of the African view of man. One of the things that I feel like the colonizers did was break that unity, that bond, that need to always look out for your brother and always, try to, even in your own lack, bring somebody else into it. Now, I think one of the things they were able to accomplish easily was to tell people, especially when they started going to churches, they told people that their neighbors or their brothers or their sisters or their fathers or their mothers were the people drawing them back, the evil people that were drawing them back. And you can see that till date, especially when in Igbo church, not just Igbo churches though, even the Yorubas do it a lot. They believe that somebody in their family or somebody, around them is who's doing them. Like, so instead of us working together or towards making ourselves better and making our community better, we turn into these people that are always about self and believing that every other thing is trying to kill self. And so we're protecting ourselves, we're guarding ourselves, and we're trying to make for ourselves, and we forget that concept of we are because I am because we are. And I think that's one of the things that really broke Nigeria as a nation. And until we start looking at how to get back into that not just me concept but us. Like we say it every day, like one broom can be easily broken, but a bunch will stay strong, cannot easily. Like, it's so obvious, and still we do the opposite. And it just amazes me how clueless we can be sometimes, and I just hope that could change. So in the comments below, I'd like to know your idea about what you just saw. What do you think about it? Do you think that I'm just spitting balls by thinking that we were actually more advanced in our thinking, and that we are actually doing all the wrong things? And yeah, basically that's what I think. So until next time, because it might not be next week, it might be tomorrow, it might be next week, it might be 2 weeks time, I don't know, but anytime you see me, you see me, and I love you, right? Bye.